Hey, it's Mazzy here. I want to have a little discussion on Discogs, the art of archiving. I'm not an archivist. Those of you who watch my channel know that one of my best friends is an archivist. And she helped me really dive deep into archiving my collection on Discogs, starting at the beginning of the pandemic when she came to visit, and really got me into it to work on my collection. So I just hit a milestone, and in fact, let me give you a little showcase of what that milestone is. I call this the main wall. This is the Great Wall of Mazzy's collection. And what that is rock, country, blues, pretty much that's it. And that goes from A to late in the R's, RO actually, because the next step here, this area, starts with the Rolling Stones. So literally yesterday, I just finished entering that whole wall into my Discogs database. If you don't know what Discogs is, it's something you should check. There's an app, and you can start an account online. It's a free account. It's a database, and probably a lot of you know it. Even if you don't include your collection there, you probably have bought things through Discogs. Pretty much every different variation of an album is listed. It is user crowdsourced in a way, so not everything is always totally accurate or inclusive, and it is really a wacky thing to jump into, and it's a bit of a bitch at times for someone like me. Now, I consider myself organized. The Virgo in me likes things a certain way, and some would say maybe it's a superficial organization because I'm surface clean, surface organized. When you get down in the nitty gritty of it, maybe it's not as perfect and organized as I'd like it to be, or some who are really the real archivists would like it to be. So hitting that is a milestone. Now, when the archivist and I first started that, when she got me getting into my collection, we actually started right up here. This area, 1, 2, 3 rows over and down, is my Beatles collection, which includes American, UK, various country pressings, Japanese, French, Russian, just which are not really authorized, as well as solo records, bootlegs, the Apple catalog, Dark Horse catalog, cover albums, and so on. When we started the discogging, we started with the Beatles, and I think we got through maybe 10 or 15 Beatles albums until my head was about to explode with the variations, especially with the American early Introducing the Beatles, Meet the Beatles, all the Matrix variations. It's a shit show, and you have to have other books. I thought, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. So we left that, and we started here with the A's and worked our way through that. I also did my entire jazz section. That's these 3 over and down. So all my jazz is finished now. I do have a section here, which I will show you. Let's take a look here. Right down here, that entire row is my soul collection. For the first time, I pulled out the soul records from the main body of my collection because I don't really like having all these various genres everywhere. As organized as I am, I really like a simple alpha, but I separated my soul section when I acquired the Coleman collection, and I probably pulled 75 to 100 albums of Coleman's that were soul. And my friend the archivist made this for me. At Coppola Design out of San Francisco, she had this designed, and this is the Coleman collection. These are some headers that I've used in parts of my collection. Really well made, woman-owned business in San Francisco. I'll put a link below. They do have alpha things, but I have so many records, I don't do the alpha, but I do certain sub-genres like world music, cocktail music, new releases in heavy rotation. I have several of these that that sort of just bookmark those sections, those genre sections. So I do have my entire soul section now, my soul records and the soul records I acquired from the Coleman collection intermingled, and they are fully in my Discogs. So if you want to follow me on Discogs and you want to know more about my collection, right now I probably have 3/4 of my collection in Discogs. My page is Manhattan. It's Manhattan with an M, like man, hat, man, 2 T's. And where I am right now, I have 4,379 records inputted in Discogs. I still have left my Beatle wall. I have R, Rolling Stones to Z, to Zevon. I have my international world music section to go. I have my classical records to go and my collections and soundtracks. So I probably have another maybe 1,500 to 2,000 records left. So my guess is I have maybe 6,500 records in my collection. And again, what's great about this for insurance purposes, it shows your estimated collection value, and you can take a look what that is. Now, of course, you look at the high value and you freak out that, oh my God, Mazzy, you have $250,000 worth of records. Now, I'm never going to get that much if and when down the line I start selling my collection. Medium value, I'll be lucky if I can get that too. And if I sell the whole collection outright, you know how that is. You get like 10 cents on the dollar, maybe a little more now in the reality. But I want to kind of walk around and talk about my experience with Discogs. Again, Manhattan is my handle at Discogs, and I find it wonderfully frustrating. Completing this wall was a milestone. I would sit here in my little sweet spot chair. Now, this room, sometimes I refer to it as my yoga studio. I don't do yoga. I've never done yoga, but it's a sanctuary, a library, a record room off the hallway downstairs in my split level house. It was a small bedroom. I opened the door up. I've said this before. If you've seen my tour, there used to be a door there. It's open wide to the hallway and up the stairs. And it becomes this little mini quiet sanctuary. So I'll sit here in my chair as I sit on my iPad, turn on the light, and go through a cube at a time. I always feel that I need to finish a cube. I can't start and stop, just do 10 or 15 records or something. I have to do an entire cube. It's again, the organizational side of me, the Virgo side. Again, it's a tug of war for me working on this because I want it done, but I don't want to do the work, which sounds so lazy and so screwed up, doesn't it? But we all wanted collections. We want to kind of catalog our collections. Now, for me, I'm doing it for several reasons. Obviously, the insurance purpose thing, but having gone through in the last several years, two of my friends, my friend Vernon, who passed away, who got very sick, and he wouldn't let go of his collection in any way, and was basically wholesaled out. We wanted to help him, get some money for him, but he just, his disease affected his brain, and it wasn't a good situation. So that was on the downside. On the Coleman collection side, his sister gave Coffee Dave and I the opportunity to purchase his collection, and we curated it. We kept, I'd say, between the two of us, maybe 1,500 records ourselves, maybe more, and we sold a lot of them. We still have maybe about 1,000 records left, and hopefully they're going out to people who appreciate the music, I think. And with those cards we put in, the Coleman cards, people are enjoying it and have a knowledge of where this collection came from. I would just be in awe if that could happen in my collection someday. And I have a couple of friends who I think will curate, including my son, obviously, who's not really into the whole record thing at all. He's aware of my collection, but not really aware of the depth of it. But between my friend the archivist and several other friends, Coffee Dave and a few others, I think if and when that happens, or when that happens ultimately, having my records on Discogs is a good way, is a good barometer to kind of see what I have, see what's available to give away, to sell, and so on. So Discogging, I think, is a really smart thing to do, but it is overwhelming. And it's like anything else. That first cube, the first 2 or 3 cubes, is the hardest. Getting your collection in Discogs is something that is really satisfying. Working on it is problematic for me. Going through the dead wax, trying to find which pressing, the exact pressing you have. I did have a conversation with the archivist about this, where some pressing plants are really easy identifiable. And I have this cheat sheet that she helped make up for me that has a lot of the pressing logos, lettering, mastering engineers, not complete. And it's worked somewhat. There's certain things that you can't even see. And she laughs in a way at me when I say, God damn it, I can't see this. I can't read this. And she looks at me and says, you know, when they were pressing these records in the 60s and 70s, they didn't give a shit about you figuring out where this record is pressed. I don't remember ever talking to anyone in the 60s, 70s, even into the 80s about a specific pressing, mastering engineers, or the like. It wasn't until maybe the last 15 years going on the Hoffman forums and finding out everything from hot stampers to editions that sound good, to Monarch presses, to Allied pressings, to Winchester, to Terre Haute, Indiana, all these various pressings, and what's the best? White label promos, what, is that better than just a regular pressing? All this kind of stuff that goes into this. Let's talk about the inner workings of Discogs a little bit. Now, I'm not an expert, and I would love someone to do a whole, or almost like a dissertation and an online YouTube tutorial on Discogging. This is one wonky app. You tried to, the sorting on the app should be robust. It's not as good as the sorting at the website using a desktop or a laptop computer. There are weird design factors, and maybe we're all spoiled by the Amazons and the Apples of the world and websites that are really robust. And of course, this is a sourced, open sourced database, so there might be limitations there. And I am not a coder, I'm not a programmer, I don't get into this, but as a user, it's wonky as hell. It's really messed up. Now, I look at my collection here, I can sort it out by alpha. I can sort it by artist, I can sort it, but see, now it's even frozen here. Collection there. Sort by, let's sort by added. I like that. So these are the last things I added. I added Tommy Rowe, 12 in a row collection of Tommy Rowe's greatest hits. Hooray for Hazel, Oh Sweet Pea, Sisto Rodriguez, Jimmy Rogers, Rockpile, Marty Robbins, and so on. Pretty easy on some of those, but you go into here and you get a nice little intro, the cover. You can see what format you have, what pressing you have. In this case, Terry Howe pressing, label 1972, a US Columbia. That would be a 70s reissue. I got this, I think, when I worked in a record store, and it talks to sales history, and it's a nice way to see what your records are worth like that. There's one for sale for $3.40. The highest one sold, the value is $12.50. And on and on and on and on. You can see that. You get your Discogs, again, as I showed you. It has my own collection, but the sorting and the input is really wonky. Now, with your iPhone and your camera, you can use barcodes on later pressings. Now, that is not an end-all either. That's an easy way to get you halfway there. If you just click on the barcode and go to it and enter that, that may not be the specific pressing that you own. So you really have to kind of get there and dig deeper and look through the various pressings and compare your dead wax. Now, with later pressings, it's a little easier because there are fewer variations in most cases, but that barcode will probably get you pretty close. But it's still a wonky thing. But again, there is a self-satisfaction here for me, like a feeling of accomplishment of getting this whole wall into this. And I suppose once I finish everything, once I tackle this wall that goes from Rolling Stones to ZZ Top, I will feel that, oh my God, I got the rock, blues, country complete. So this is just the State of Mazzy's collection in Discogs, maybe 75% there. So I urge you, if you haven't started at Discogs, start inputting your records in. You'll be amazed what things are worth. But again, I don't buy records to resell them. I've never bought records as an investment. I kind of cringe at this thing going on now, especially in the audiophile world and limited edition world, where people will buy multi-copies just to have a backup, just to have one to maybe sell. Well, it's a shitty investment if you're going to hold on to something for a few years and maybe get a little bit to pay for things. But that's just me. If you want to do that, all the power to you. But I want this in Discogs to kind of get a feel of where my collection is. Again, sometimes it's great when you're out shopping and you have a massive collection. Did I have that copy? Do I have that version? What's the version I want? Is this a better version, or maybe I don't have that record at all. Maybe I used to have it and I got rid of it and I want it again. You can just open up your app, see what it's worth, see if it's in your collection, and snap it up or not snap it up. So thanks for watching. This video is more scattered than the organization of my collection, which I think is at a good place right now. And hope you enjoy this. Mazzy loves you.